anything, whatever it is, it's just none of us, the rest of us are normal.
Because when I was
You're watching Muppets.
watching
The two guys up there.
I
I got it right here. That's in the chat right there. They sit back there. They observe everything. They got their jokes.
to lay down the track.
They're gonna be finding
I would
games
do
out
the
there.
track, but I didn't
The
do
trivia
the
question.
you
good. Just as
put something.
That's very important. She wants to be stabbed. You want to be stabbed. Oh, there.
I never heard of that. Like, right now.
Sorry, I'm on HOA board and we're going
My resignation letter is already
My homeboy, he graduated to video. So he's shooting hip hop videos, traveling all over.
Alright, everybody, I'm just going to go through the housekeeping and then we're going to get started with our presenter. So if you haven't already, last chance, please scan the QR code so that we can take our attendance.
all right.
So thank you for doing that. Yes, go ahead. Alright, and we are off to the races. So, good morning and welcome. This is 1 Million Cups. This is our branch here in Columbia, South Carolina. We are an organization that is here to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all types of new, seasoned, and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. Our key pillars are we give presentations, not pitches. We make authentic connections. We're not just here just to network. We're radically and intentionally inclusive. We are run for the community, by the community. And what I mean by that, well, here are all of the nice folks who do this for free to bring this program to you every week. So we are grateful to the USC Technology Incubator for allowing us the space every Wednesday. And then all of the businesses below are ones that help promote this to get our presenters in who just keep the show running. So thank you to all of those business owners. Our local programs, so we've been here over 10 years. We're held weekly on Wednesday mornings, 100 entrepreneurial presentations. We also offer educational topics like finance, future frame, networking, local resources. We had a great educational topic last week with our own lovely Donna Davis, who taught us how to keep consistent in our business. We also bring back a mated session. So if you know an entrepreneur who's had a lot of success and wants to tell us their story, please have them apply. We'd love to hear from them. Weekly, we have one presenter who does about a 6 to 10 minute presentation, and then we follow that with Q&A from our community. Again, I have a call for presenters. If you would like to present your business or you know someone who would, here is the link to present, or you can come and talk directly to me. Again, we're a room of your colleagues. This is not a sales pitch. It's not an investor's pitch. The people in here are not your clients. You might know your clients, but the goal is to have people understand what you do and some of the challenges you've had in your business. So we're looking for businesses that are newer and open to community engagement, or if they just have a great idea, please bring your idea in and let's talk about it. I've got one coming up at the end of March. He's got an idea for a product and he wants us to be the first to hear about it. So I'm looking forward to his presentation. If you're not already on this group, please scan the QR code and become a member. We have 2 Facebook pages. One is our 1 Million Cups, which is kind of our national page, and this is our little homegrown page. This is for everybody here locally in Columbia, and it's a great place for us to talk, communicate, ask questions, get resources, share resources, etc., etc. Our upcoming presenters, so next week we have Alonzo Abbins. He's with A-Team Consulting. He's going to talk about his company and ask us for some help. March 12th, Taylor Simon's coming in. She had a presentation last year. She's coming back to kind of tell us where her journey has led her. Randy Kleinbell will be here on the 19th. He's an owner of a company called Meaningful Silhouettes. And then March 26th, we have Gaurav Sangal, who is going to talk about his company, the STEM Lab. I'm booking for April, so if you want to come in April, please, let's connect. Today's presenter, we have Mr. Jeffrey Lyon. He's with the CyberWild Cybersecurity Solutions. His mission is to help small enterprises reduce the risk of cyber threats without spending a fortune by bringing security awareness to their company culture, providing security policy guidance, and offering quarterly training and security assessments. So we are all going to hear from him now. So let me get his presentation up, and if you wouldn't mind just welcoming him right there. Yes, sir. Do you need me to click you just give me a thumbs up and I can click the arrow for you?
That'll be fine.
Did you send it to me on a PDF? What have we got here?
Nope, not that one.
No, not this one. Okay.
The Canva, yeah.
Alright.
Of course, if you want to talk about real estate, we can do that too.
Yeah. For everybody.
Well,
Alright, we're off.
all right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well, and I really appreciate you coming out to hear me talk today and talk about my company. My name is Jeff, and I am the founder of the CyberWild, and I have to rely on my notes here because I can never remember stuff. But here we go. So my journey began decades ago at a small college in South Carolina, where I was the IT manager. And I got to experience firsthand one of the early cybersecurity attacks. Matter of fact, we didn't call it cybersecurity then, we call it information security. But anyway, I got to experience that, and that's what really planted the seed for me learning anything about cybersecurity a long time ago. So as I reflect on it, the threat landscape has grown more complex and dangerous over the years. And oh, I love that song. Yeah, right. I write songs too. I post them on funny songs on LinkedIn for cybersecurity stuff. We'll talk about another day, okay? But where was I? Well, since then, I've been on the road working with companies, helping them improve their cybersecurity business, and I've learned that the threat landscape has only grown more complex and dangerous, and it really got to me when it was a sunny day, early March in 2020. I was on my way back from a bluegrass concert in Asheville, and I got this heart-wrenching phone call from one of my client hospitals. And they had been attacked by a ransomware attack, and they were totally inoperable. They didn't know what to do. First of all, the CIO, the director of IT, the main guy, was out of the country. He was on a cruise, unavailable. The guy in charge had no instruction on how to conduct an incident response. And matter of fact, they did not even have an incident response plan. And their staff was overworked, underskilled, knew nothing about how to recover from a cybersecurity attack. Their antivirus, well, once I got there, and it was a long flight, quick change of a weekend, just glad it came on a Sunday afternoon instead of a Friday morning when I was leaving for a good weekend. But when I got there, realized that their antivirus had not been kept up. Nobody was responsible for it. Their backups were unusable. They were in bad shape. Well, this really planted the seed that we have to do something more to protect these smaller organizations, to help them grow in their security posture, and to help them fight the bad guys, because so many of them just don't realize the threats that are out there. And so many clients I've spoken with, there's so many potential clients I've spoken with, they just don't realize the impact of what could happen to them. And they don't realize how vulnerable they are. Matter of fact, small businesses, small organizations are much more likely to be impacted by a cyber attack than bigger ones would, mainly because they don't have the resources to fight it. And the bad guys know that, and as a result, they're lower hanging fruit. And with my experience working as a consultant with one of the major Big Four accounting and advisory firms, I worked with clients I had every resource. And realizing that there's a big gap where we have companies that have very sensitive data, medical clinics that have very sensitive data, law firms that have sensitive data, accounting firms, real estate firms. They don't really realize what the impact is and what they're really up against, how bad the cyber threat is. So that's, I got frustrated with all of that, and that's why I created this company called the Cyber Wild. And I want to be able to help the smaller organizations, like this hospital I described. I want to be able to help them build up their cyber defenses. Because, I feel that every company, regardless of the size, needs to have fair and available, affordable cybersecurity services. So today we help numerous businesses strengthen their cybersecurity posture, but we're still working on scaling our business while keeping them affordable. And one challenge we face is actually making them aware, actually getting our foot in the door and helping them realize that it takes more than just an antivirus and a perimeter firewall. It takes much more. And it starts on the inside with human awareness training. So looking ahead, I envision making a high quality cybersecurity accessible to every small business, regardless of their budget or technical expertise. And I believe that empowering these businesses, we can create a safer digital landscape for everyone. And in the next year, I hope to expand to these multiple industries and develop partnerships that will help us scale effectively. And I'm also keeping a close eye on emerging trends like the AI. Many things can happen with AI, good and bad. And I'm looking at ways to help companies realize the difference. So I'm not here today just to share my story. I'd love your feedback. Specifically, I'm looking for advice on two fronts. That's number one, how we can effectively reach out and educate the small company owners who might not realize they're at risk. And number two, for those who've scaled the service businesses, what strategies will work best for you? And if you have expertise in cyber, small business operations, or scaling services, I'd be particularly interested in connecting with you after the presentation. And my contact's on the slide, and my website is thecyberwild.com. So I'll appreciate your time and attention. I'll open it up for a Q&A.
On the AI front, are you familiar with NIST?
NIST?
Yes.
Yes, I am familiar with NIST.
They have a section now dedicated to passwords that will help prevent a break-in from someone using AI. So for a small company, that's something that they can do for free. That'll help them, because now the bad guys are using the machine learning to crack it. They're not sitting at the keyboard anymore. They use an AI to crack the password.
That's correct. And the biggest threat is not somebody breaking into a system, but it's someone logging in due to that password being stolen, the credentials being stolen. And there are tools out there that can monitor for password scamming, okay? And some of it is much more affordable than people realize. Some people think it's only available for smaller firms, but it really surprised me when I started looking around. When I left the big companies and started looking for solutions for smaller orgs, I found that the stuff's available. It's out there. People just don't realize it. Terry?
My question is, so are you like a consultant, so you go in and you tell them, here's how you can better protect yourself, or are you protecting them and their business documents and things? Just to teach me.
Okay, sure. That's a great question, and it answers yes, both.
Okay.
First I would go in and look at where they are in their security journey and make recommendations. And I also can provide the assistance. I can provide the tools. If they don't have an antivirus solution, if they don't have a monitoring service, I have that 24/7. It's scalable. Okay, but I also offer on-site security awareness training. But the best bet is to do a subscription service, and I have several tools for that. Everyone's heard of Node before. I think that's the one everyone talks about, but there are many, many more out there that can do it for you and have some very interesting scenarios. I keep one on myself just to keep me alert for it. And for example, I get a LinkedIn request from somebody, and I look closer at it, and yeah, it looks legit. Yeah, okay, I was in Tampa last week. Maybe I better at a trade show. Oh, but wait a minute. Instead of LinkedIn, it's IIN. Yeah, but if you're on your cell phone, you may not see that. It's tricky stuff like that helps people think, and because it's that one click that can compromise your whole company. Did you know that it was last year, I think last fall, there was a healthcare organization, pretty big one actually, in Louisiana. And because of something like that, credentials were stolen, and then a really big wire fraud scheme cost them $226,000 as someone pretending to be rerouted a wire to another company, no way to get it back. All because of phishing. Gary?
I don't know if anybody pays attention to the news or not, but this isn't happening to just companies everywhere else. This is happening here at home.
Yes.
Here in Lexington, owners of a local scrap metal company were just arrested like 2 or 3 days ago for running a wire fraud scam, bad checks, email spoofing, like all kinds of stuff. They were caught. And it was right here in Lexington, homegrown. And they were caught and arrested not even but like 2 or 3 days ago. So this isn't just happening, to these big $1 million companies and stuff like that. These guys were reaching out to regular people, your moms, your dads, your grandmas, your granddads, the most vulnerable people that can easily believe this stuff. So the stuff's there. It's happening. Even, small business owners, scrap metal places trying to figure out ways to get more money or freaking jumping on this cybersecurity bandwagon. And it's so easy for people to get attacked now. You get an email, you click a link, you think it's a valid invoice or you think it's a valid, RPF or whatever, and you open it and boom, you're compromised.
So are you saying that the scrap metal company, they were arrested, the people that were running the scrap metal company
Yes.
were arrested for cyber
Yes.
crimes?
Yes. The owners of the scrap metal company in Lexington were arrested for cyber crimes. Yes.
Were
They run the fraud.
they running the? No,
Yeah.
they were.
They were running the fraud. They were the ones sending the
I thought they were
emails. They were the ones running the wire fraud. No, they were doing it.
It's their side job.
Oh, it's I get it now. Okay,
That's an unusual combination, to say the least.
Well, I mean, they try and get money any way they can. Some of them scrap metal places are some of the biggest scam artists you'll ever meet in your entire life. They just figured out a way to make quick money by doing scrap metal, and then, you know, kind of sidestepped into something else to make quick money. So,
Got a question?
Well, yeah, I'm just wondering because I'm a veteran. I know there's probably some other veterans, and I remember a few years ago, supposedly someone got into the VA system and was getting confidential information, social security numbers, and I'm hearing that's being done on a higher level in the Oval Office. I don't know if there's any truth to it, so I'm saying if it's allegedly being done on a higher level above our pay grades, and those who are put in authority, how are you going to be able to protect that if allegedly on higher levels is being done, that people are supposedly tapping into our personal information, getting information on us? How are you going to, I don't understand how you're going to be able to help if they're doing it on bigger levels. And I understand, yes, Lexington and Columbia may be doing, but I don't understand how we protect it if it's allegedly being allowed on higher levels. I don't understand. So
Your question is not,
how can I feel secure that you can do something to help? Not saying you, but any company, if allegedly on higher levels, if someone could just go in a VA and get information, and allegedly now it's being done even more, supposedly. How are you or any company going to be able to help us?
well, that's an excellent question, and here's why. Okay, you're asking a question about recovery of data. Okay, so it's been compromised, right? Somebody tapped into the VA,
Right.
got your personal information, your socials out there, and whatever information is out there somewhere on the dark web. So what's the solution? Well, they tell you that the solution is to have credit monitoring for X number of years. Do you think the hackers don't know that?
Oh, yeah.
What's going to happen at X plus 1, year plus 1?
right back in you.
I'm sorry?
They're right back at you. They X plus 1. They know the time is up, and now you're vulnerable.
Yeah. So I don't have a solution for that. I don't think anybody does.
Nobody knows.
The only solution really is going to be some type of a different type of identification, and I'm talking futuristic here, probably not talking cybersecurity, but and I'm talking off the top of my head or out of my head, whichever way you want to look at it. But it's got to be a different type of identification. I know at one point I was thinking blockchain's the solution, but I believe there are even it's already been compromised at times. Cat's out of the bag. It's not going to go back in very peacefully if at all, right?
The state of South Carolina was hacked. The
sorry?
state government was hacked 4 years ago, 4 years ago. Once you hack the state, all our information is out there.
It's out there.
The question is whether or not they're using it.
If you broke, you're all right.
Yeah.
If you're broke,
You're all right. A credit score of 450 will never get anybody anything. I get those hacks. I get those emails where you're threatening me. Well, please, you can't get blood from a turnip.
I think also part of it is like the due diligence of the individual, right? We're talking about personal responsibility here. And that is going to be the key to monitoring and making sure that things are running the way that you need them to. If you monitor and look at your credit report every so often, if you have an alert system set up, so you know I can purchase this. Wait a minute, let me pause this. I have it on my phone now on all my accounts. I can't purchase anything without a second party verification or a third party verification. So even if they get my information and they go to make a purchase, they gotta have my phone.
That's right.
They gotta spoof my emails and my phones to get, because otherwise it sends me the code and I'm like, no, I didn't do that. So again, that's your personal, to your point about how do I feel secure. Well, I know my information is out there.
Right.
My identity was stolen when I was 18. So you deal with it, but I learned early, okay, the only way that you can feel secure is if you do the monitoring. Because if I depend on somebody else to do the monitoring, they're gonna do it at their leisure.
Okay.
Right, 9 to 5. At 2 a.m., somebody decided to go purchase a car on Carvana, and they got a car delivered off of me. It's like, wait a minute. You're right.
There'll be no cars here. There'll be no cars. I need a matchbox.
Like, what? I never ordered a Prius.
But now, can I ask, back to your story for a second. You just sort of made this transition in. What were you doing before?
Before cyber,
Yeah.
I've been in IT all of my life.
Okay.
Started early in my career. Well, first of all, I'm a Clemson grad. All you USC folks here, I'm sorry. I love
It's
USC
sad
as well.
that you couldn't get into a real school, but continue. I'm sorry the short bus makes trips up there.
That's why I'm still working at my age.
What did I walk into?
But anyway, I've had a passion for it. I've always been a technologist. I've been an engineer all my life. And when I was young, I started out as a road warrior, putting in IT systems into textile companies. And that's no life when you're young and you're starting a family. And then I got to settle down in Rock Hill and work at the college for 16 years. And then realized, well, I need something bigger.
And the reason I ask, I want to stop you right here, is there is, and this is what some of us do, we start the story, even in your marketing. See, there are a lot of people saying they're cybersecurity.
Yeah.
But they're not cybersecurity because they don't have a background that led to cybersecurity. I'm an English major working for a company in the HR department, and I wake up and I decide I want to be a cybersecurity expert. What you have that I think you gloss over is you come from IT. So that's a natural transition into where you are now.
That's
and
correct.
that part of your journey has to be part of your story, that you how do you delineate between you and another cybersecurity company?
I got you. Yep, that's very good.
Yeah,
That's very good.
I mean,
I wouldn't trust anybody that didn't come from an IT background.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I
I get that, but there's a whole bunch of folks out here now saying they're
wouldn't.
cybersecurity.
There's a whole boatload of them. Yeah.
So that's the
That just give you software that they
Yeah.
think will do things and
so,
winds up doing
so
nothing.
we're identifying what you're really up against. Everybody's now cybersecurity.
Everybody can talk the talk.
Yeah. So how do you position yourself if you don't own that IT experience as a background to say, it's not like I don't know. You came from bigger organizations that did IT. That level of IT we don't see in small companies. So there's a benefit to telling that story, and that's also part of the practice of this room. If you had gone back to that, then it changes how your presentation would have flowed.
Yeah, I would have leaned on that heavily. I would have leaned on your IT experience heavily.
Really?
Yeah, I think that gives you a lot
more.
Credibility. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Credibility. That gives you a lot more credibility.
We have a question in the back, and then we'll go to Ian. So, gentlemen in the back.
Oh, yeah. Ironically, I work in technology and cyber technology, but what I wanted to tell you, as part of my testimony today, is I've been asking God for several years how to use my skills and what I know to help serve His purpose. And something has happened over the past 2 weeks where we just exploded with nonprofits and churches coming to us and asking for help. What I recommend you do is look at that market. They need it. There's enough room in Charleston. I'm from Charleston. There's enough room in Columbia for everybody, I think. Cyber technology in Columbia, that is a needed market. And what you also have, and what I'm seeing, because we compete against much bigger companies, we're a decent company, they're bigger companies, face to face. Do not rely on phone calls, do not rely on emails, get in people's face. That relationship is what they need and what they want. Cybersecurity and IT is very cold. People typically have the people skills.
Yeah.
Children have the people skills.
It's not
That's
email and phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Build those relationships. That's the key to how you are separated and differentiated from the big companies. So that's what I recommend.
Zoom is not face to face.
No.
I need to say that, dear God, folks say, let's have an in-person meeting. I'll send you a Zoom link. But no, we're not having an in-person meeting.
But do not forget to focus on churches and nonprofits. Get out there, beat down the doors, they need you.
All right, great. Question here.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, well, as far as a small business, what's like some basics that a small business in need, for protection, cybersecurity or whatever.
What's the basics they need?
Yeah.
Well, how big is the business? I mean, like, how many people?
Which, like, you mean customers or you mean
No, employees. I mean,
employees?
Yeah.
10.
Okay. Number one, the cybersecurity awareness training. And that should be a subscription, making sure that they understand the different perils that are out there in cybersecurity, making sure that they understand the phishing, having the phishing simulations come in to you. Having that fake LinkedIn message come in, or that fake you want a prize message, or bank account, bank deposit message, and it's really, you monitor to see who's falling for it, and then helping them get above that. You ingrain the cyber into your workforce. It becomes part of your culture.
So basically, you should be one of the 10 people who, as far as that you work with.
It could be one. What do you mean? You mean like it's responsible for it?
Yes, exactly. Somebody be one in particular person be responsible for it instead of just like hiring outside the company.
Well, not necessarily. With my program, that's if you got into it and subscribed. If you wanted somebody to run it for you, that's something my team could do. And you just sit back and let it happen. You just tell me how often you want the emails to come out and what the cadence is for the training and what areas you want to focus on. And we set it up. It's kind of like a set and forget. So that's one thing, but there are more things as well. Of course, you need virtual protections. You need to be able to monitor the data going in and out of your network. Do you have servers?
No.
Do you
No.
Do you have stuff in the cloud?
Like the Google Cloud?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it backed up?
No.
Stuff like that. So what we would do is an assessment. We figure out where you are with that, and then we make recommendations. If you don't know how to back it up, we can show you how. If there's a tool you need, we can recommend one or two different tools. So that's where we start. We can also, and usually with a company of 10, it's not as big as a company of 100, but you want policies in place, like security policies, just like you have HR policies. You want security policies, and we help create those as well.
like cookies.
Cookies?
Cookies.
Internet cookies, those aren't,
No.
don't worry about that part.
Yeah, that's something, something
Train
different.
your people. Your people are your
Yeah.
weakest link.
But
Your people are your weakest link.
All
Yeah.
10 people need to go through the same training.
Yes.
yeah,
Everybody needs to
everybody.
go through the same page.
Everybody needs to be responsible.
Everybody needs to be held accountable to the same standard.
Don't open stupid emails.
The network
Don't give your information out to people unless you know exactly who they are and they confirm who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of simple steps that you can take to protect yourself
And
and
what
your
you-
company and stuff. So.
What he's saying, what all of them are saying, but it's how management responds.
Yeah.
See, if your team is answering, opening emails, you failed as a manager to train them properly.
Correct.
And I want to say that because some companies, bigger companies, send out fake emails from the HR department.
To
And
test
when-
their employees.
Test their employees, and when the employees were tested, if they opened it, but it came from the HR department, they fired those employees.
Oh, wow.
You have to be strict on them with
Yeah,
the
but-
cybersecurity policy.
But but if you fire them, you undercut yourself.
Yeah.
Because now people don't. Yeah. So it's a delicate balance, but it's better training, and it's proactive. And I love what he said. He said you test them and then you train them again, not get rid of them because you're gonna start the process over again. But it's a whole thing. You got to do an audit on your cybersecurity needs.
Yeah.
That's just gonna have to happen.
And not everybody's going to be at the same starting place. You're going to have people that are more savvy than others, and some that are still searching for the any key. You know.
Yeah.
Right? But they're also coming at you not only in your email, but they're coming at you in text messages.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just had
I just got
one
one
of my
too.
agents got a text from me asking them to go to Walgreens and buy 6 gift cards because I needed them and I couldn't call her right away. And
Oh,
God bless my poor
wow.
agent spent $1,500 at Walgreens, bought all these gift cards, sent them receipt copies because she thought she was sending it to me, her boss. Now she's out $1,500 because she thought it was a text from me.
Yeah.
Wasn't from my cell phone number, so she just assumed, she knows I originally have a business in California, so she's, oh, it must be Tara. It wasn't Tara.
Oh my.
So they're coming at you from your emails, your text messages, they're coming at you in all ways.
Some of this is just, some of it is
Just know.
really common sense.
Yeah.
Ticket.
If I get a
Yes.
strange
I got a
text
ticket
from
from Alabama.
somebody claiming to be
I ain't
somebody,
never
you know the
been to
first thing I'm
Alabama.
gonna do? Call.
I'ma call.
I'm gonna pick up the phone and call.
I got a ticket from
Dad,
Alabama.
I'm in trouble, and I really
A
need you
ticket
to
from
send me such and such.
Alabama.
Okay,
I ain't,
hold
yeah,
on a
I
minute.
ain't never been to Alabama.
Jay, we
Don't pay this.
Oh, you want?
But it's
Now I
also
can have fun.
Something easy.
Now I'm going to waste your time.
it's also on a human condition.
That's crazy.
If you catch somebody at a weak moment,
Right.
if they're having a bad day already, you know, you got somebody with 10 things piled up on them, phone ring and all, and they're going to be more likely to fall for something. Just to
So let's get your
Just
business.
move it on.
First of all, get your business off personal phones.
Yes. Yes.
Why? You know, I know it's another expense, but there's way too much of my of private of small business information on personal employee devices.
Well, this is a good point, because I even asked this of Jeff when I talked to Jeff the first time. I know a lot of real estate agents, we handle a lot of sensitive material.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at bank statements and proof of funds,
Mhm.
and it bugs me when I see an agent asking me for information, and they're like, Jimmy Sells at Gmail. I'm like, what the hell? Or Yahoo. I'm like, Yahoo? Like my company, we have security position, and our email is Harcourts Carolinas. It's
Yeah.
my company. We're protected. And I see, and they're sharing shit left and right on these dumb little Yahoos and AOLs.
But
It's
if you,
important.
but the thing is if you have my personal phone,
Yeah.
because I don't keep anything on the phone. Everything's on this beat and backed up. It may not be the best solution, but my phone is isolated from my work stuff. So if you hack my phone, hey, have at it. You got family and friends. None of them got money either. But what too many of us do is we require our employees to do business on their phones. Their phones, not your phone.
Give them a phone.
Give them a phone.
Make rules about what they can do.
I have that
I have a VPN. My son is my other employee. So he's got a phone that's on our account, but it's tied through our VPN. I get alerts if he goes to a site that's, hey, there's malicious malware here. You want to go? I can control all of that from my device. So, or I can call him and say, what are you doing? Right? So these are just simple things that are offered that people don't know about. If you have a business account with Verizon or T-Mobile, they offer these things for business accounts. Free of charge. You're paying for it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And the two should never mix. It's an extra expense as a business owner. But and I'll use me as an example.
That's got a little liability too.
Yeah, if I get a payment transferred through how I do business, that may be a $30,000-$40,000 check. I don't want that on a phone that ain't secure.
Oh, no.
I don't want that going. I don't want everybody. I don't want. No,
because I can tap the pay and get all your money.
Good.
So that's what we don't do is we don't set up a separation between, we hire employees and then expect them to use their equipment. And don't train them, but then don't understand that they're using this for personal and business. So if I get a text from a friend saying, hey, I'm in jail, send me $100. If I click on that link, that device is now compromised. Guess whose business is on that phone? Yeah. See, they don't just get their bank account. If I've given them access to anything financial or important, they now have access to that. So that's why there has to be a separation. It's an extra step for us, but guess what? It's our business.
Don't say.
One comment about that, then Anthony, and then next young lady here. If another thing about using your personal phone is, anybody here in the legal profession? If you happen to be using your personal phone and for business, and your business is tied up in some type of legal thing, then your phone can be taken and all of your personal information becomes, what's it called, evidence? Or, that part I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it's there, it's available. Anthony?
Don't sync your phone to your laptop. I know it's convenient.
Yeah, no.
Don't do that. If I get your phone, now I got access to everything where?
On your laptop.
Because you sync it. It's easy. It's convenient.
Now, I do have a solution for that too. It's called this product called Lookout that can help with the phone stuff as well.
Chef, how long have you been doing this site a while? One thing is I love your logo, and
Thank
I
you.
love what you do. I think more of it is just get in front of people, educate us like this. Like I'm sitting back like, I'm doing all kind of dumb stuff. So just as a small business, you just don't think about those things. So I think a lot of the niche would be getting in front of groups like this right here and businesses that you can share some information, because a lot of us just don't know that we at risk all the time. I know there's a text going around about the tolls or something.
That's the one.
Yeah, that was, a lot of people got that. Even me, I tried to ask one before. Everybody gets it, they're not paying tolls. But I do have to click on it, but a lot of us don't know that to click on it.
Right. Well, to answer your question, I left Deloitte about in November of 23. Well, that's when the paychecks stopped after severance and all that. And I started a small 1099 project, temporary, in January. Now, you're going to love this when I tell you who it is. But it was working as a security architect remotely on a 1099 for Victoria's Secret.
You found out her secret?
I'm not going to tell you the secret. I'll pay to protect it, okay? But since I was already working on 1099 and realized, okay, that's going to make my whole tax situation different, why not do this full time and just not even try to go back to corporate America? And, I got all this experience in cybersecurity. I've got all these certifications that I have, which we didn't even talk about because we're not No, I'm not trying to sell, right? But I do have many certifications, very coveted. Coveted. Coveted, yeah. And thanks. And it's just time for me to do it on my own, or else just throw in the towel, retire. But I got too much to help. There's too many people who need help. So in May, the idea came up in March. I actually started creating things and created this logo probably even March, and came up with the name, and created a website in March. Not much of one, but just something out there. And then in May, I went full time with it. And I took my website and moved it over to a platform called Go High Level. Anybody heard of that in here? Okay. Which is also what we call a CRM, which is a customer relationship database. And I've grown from that. And we talked about side jobs a little while ago with the scrap metal. Well, my side job is a Go High Level agency, so I can set those up for people and help them
So
build.
on your website, and you had on there, was it more like a financial? You had something about your experience in finance. I didn't see anything about cyber or IT. That when Derek was talking about your story on your website. Do you have like a financial advisor? Was some of the did you put on there about the IT and your credentials?
With the you mean with the companies I serve? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I don't remember if I have financial in there or not, but Tara, if you want to pull it up, that's fine.
Yeah, I think what she's saying is on your website you talk about like how you kind of got started, and you talk about your experience in the financial advisory, but there isn't a big push on, hey, look, I'm an old IT guy. I came from IT. And I think Judy's just trying to say, go deep on that to tell us if that is. Am I helping Judy?
Yes, that's right. You're right.
Okay.
Old, I resemble that. But
Yeah, go look at your website again. And it's just nice to have a second pair of eyes come in and say, hey. Just to keep us on track, folks. 2 more questions. So the gentleman here's been waiting, so we'll go right up here.
Okay. Comment and then question. Similar to what Robert spoke of the others about focusing. You're going to find Columbia, South Carolina has an explosion of entrepreneurs who work for home. I think it'd be good for you is to really focus on home-based businesses who are starters who want to get in but don't know how to protect themselves. You're going to find with that reality, not only is there an explosion, but it's an opportunity for you to have a market of people who could, by way of past successes, to help them not put their personal along with their business together on their home-based business because they may have one computer at home. So again, kind of get some thought to that because the explosion is here. On how to do it, and the answer to do it right is not here. So again, I think you will have a great success in able to achieve what I think your heart is helping and saving people from being hacked, personal information stolen by thieves. Again, just comments for you to think about.
Sure.
But I have another question in regards from a business perspective. So I was heavily involved in international trade, global trade. I started doing that, and I'm getting in on and off. I've been doing it over 40 years. One piece of equipment I used to have was a satellite telephone. And I'm quite sure you're probably familiar with it. In this case, my phone is, I can be on a remote island and I can actually communicate via satellite any place on the globe. Have you got to that level of security where you can actually be protected from satellite thieves? Because a lot of people don't realize how technology has exploded in so many parameters, and also how satellites actually work. Even for obtaining information that's changing data from one nation to another on that one. So other question I have is I'll get you connect with you in private. But it's one concern that I have based on the countries that we're building and how to protect ourselves for satellite which nations use to obtain data. On that with that. So again, I want to talk to you in detail, but are you to that level of protection? Are you connect with others which you can work with to provide that global protection on that? Because that's where and how different countries like Russia, China is able to get information from us, and a lot of us have no idea about how they're doing it.
Good question.
That's a good question,
Yeah, I agree.
and I don't have a good answer for that because I really haven't researched satellites at all. But
Okay.
I would, and I can only speculate, but I would say that they have to use at least 256-bit encryption with the data, but that is only good for so long because we have this quantum computing that may be able to crack it soon. We're up against a lot.
And that's one thing I want to talk to you private, because there's a couple of firms in Silver Spring, Maryland, that I think you need to connect with, because they've seen that, and I think it also will help the business as well. Me, I'm still on this trying to figure out how you turn the computer on.
I'm trying to figure out how to turn one off. Mine won't turn off. I never get away from it either. So.
I think a market that you might want to target are companies like mine. I've been in IT, I have a cybersecurity degree, I have all that, but my company, we don't specialize in cybersecurity. We're not a managed service provider. We only deal in IT infrastructure. I don't want the liability of the cybersecurity world. Right now, I don't want to touch it. But companies like mine, smaller MSPs, one-man, two-man shops, five-man shops, we're targeted every single day. I mean, I can open my email right now and show you 30 freaking emails where people have sent me fake invoices and fake, requests for quotes. And I've got somebody from Dubai asking if I can sell them laptops and all this other nonsense. But it would be interesting to sit down with you and have a conversation about the tools that you have out there. I mean, I could probably sit down and research it on my own, but to be honest, I'm trying to focus on my path and not worry about yours. So it would be interesting to sit down and see what you have. But I would definitely, if I were you, I would target those smaller MSPs. There's companies out there like mine that do IT services that have nothing to do with managed services, have nothing to do with cybersecurity. And I personally know about 5 of those IT service companies that have had to shut their doors because they've been hacked.
Really?
Just last year, I was hacked into it. QuickBooks had been breached, and they got into my QuickBooks account. And I don't even know how this is possible. I didn't even know this was a feature for QuickBooks. But they were literally in my QuickBooks just reaching into these companies' bank accounts and taking money out of their accounts. Luckily, I caught it and stopped it because I watched my QuickBooks on a regular. And I caught it and I stopped it before it got too bad. But, I mean, we're constantly being attacked. Anybody who has IT services or anything, we're like a massive, massive target. And if I were you, I would hit that market if I were you, because there's a lot of people like me who would much rather outsource that stuff than even have to worry about the headache.
Sure. And Gary, that's a good point, and that's something I was actually looking at with some people in Charlotte to actually partner with other MSPs that, they're big on the IT part of it, but they don't do the cyber.
Yep.
And so many of them now are so many clients I talk with, especially in the small medical practices. I try to talk to them about cyber. Oh, our IT guy does that.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, your IT guy probably just puts an antivirus on your computer and you think it's solid. But, it's so much more than that. And they just don't understand it. They won't even, sometimes won't talk.
Hey, Bob, you want to do the last question?
Oh yeah, what can 1 million cups do for you?
1 million cups is doing it right now, my friend. He's giving me some great advice and just listening and learning from people that have been down this road. Maybe not in cyber, but in many other fields that we all have the same problems when it comes to growing pains and startup pains. And I really appreciate everyone's time today.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for coming in. We appreciate you. All right, everybody. We will see you next week.
All right.
Bring a friend. Tell a friend.
Let me get your card.
Oh, and if you present, please come back. That's been a thing.
Let me get your business card.
What's that?
One night
May I have your
stands.
business card?
I can, but I left it in my car. QR code.
I got that. I'll work this one right now.
Yeah, you do that. What's your name?
David Lewis.
David Lewis. Okay, David. Good pleasure speaking with you.
It's supposed to be good. So like I said, give it to me. And when I think about people don't even have, my first satellite cheesecake phone was back in the 80s.
I could talk all day on stories. I mean, I ran out of time. I was going to tell y'all some other stories.
There you go.
One just happened last week. Would be on LinkedIn.
What?
Time is always something.
Okay.
But I ought to run out to my car and get my.
I like to go out and get your car so I can have a present.
Yeah, let me grab my.
What's going on now? How you doing? Just doing what I do to focus on. Just enjoying life. Y'all just come up, I can have some do it. Keep on going.